Hey guys, we are back with another Pokemon Hardcore Nuzlocke, and in this video, I'll be attempting a Pokemon Hardcore Nuzlocke challenge in Fire Red. Just a general one, I guess, not a type 1 this time around. So starter here being Squirtle, because Squirtle is definitely my favorite starter of this generation, of this era. And then our first battle against our rival here. Definitely don't know what to do in the future if I actually do lose these rival battles, probably just restart or something, but the rival battle wasn't too bad. Just a couple tail whips there to decrease the defense there before tackling his Bulbasaur. And then finally we can get our journey started proper. I get it started by catching a Pidgey, and I just go crazy here with the catching of Pokemon as I immediately catch a Mankey right afterwards. Not only that, I also catch a Rattata here, just kind of building up the team before the first gym fight against Brock. So with the first gym fight against Brock, I decide to lead off with Mankey instead of Squirtle, just to get those scummy critical hits there as much as possible with Karate Chop. So with the tight matchup, Mankey definitely didn't see any problems here, and netting me the first gym badge. Now after the gym badge, definitely I don't know what happened with the recording, but did not get the footage going through Mount Moon before challenging Misty here. I decided to lead off with my newly evolved Wartortle here. Staryu going for the Harden there definitely might be a problem, but Bite I think is still special in this generation, so just a few bites and Staryu does go down. So I decided to lead with Wartortle because it does get access to Bite, which is super effective against Starmie, allowing me to beat it and claim the second gym badge. Now, after this badge, we do catch a bunch of different Pokemon. I caught a Weedle to the north of Cerulean City. Also catching a Meowth right afterwards. Not a Meowth right afterwards, an Otter, sorry. Right afterwards. Next going to Vermilion City to catch a Magikarp. I also named Key West, and there's really no rhyme or reason to all these captures. I'm just capturing Pokemon just to have, just in case. Definitely need to rethink that strategy, probably for future runs. I also catch a Diglett in Diglett Cave, probably, just to have something for Lieutenant Surge, but also catch a Spearow as well. Now just kind of banking up all these Pokemon and not really using them. So right before the gym fight, I do manage to evolve my Ekans into an Arbok before we get to challenging LT Surge, Lieutenant Surge. Now, obviously, I lead off with my Geodude, who has the type advantage, so only a few magnitudes here. I was worried about that double team, but as you see, it didn't really matter. And with magnitude 7, I was able to take out Raichu in one shot, netting me the third gym badge. Now, after the gym battle, Geodude does manage to evolve into a Graveler before we head out to Rock Tunnel and eventually challenge Erica. So before that happens, we catch this Voltorb right near the entrance of Rock Tunnel, naming it Oviedo before continuing on into the tunnel proper, where we catch a Zubat. Now, definitely was tempted to use the Zubat, but had to stay strong. Next encounter being a Meowth right between these routes here. Definitely just trying to catch as many Pokemon as possible still. I did want to look for a Growlithe, and I did manage to find one, definitely before this Erica gym battle here, to definitely be useful, and then picking up the Eevee in Celadon City. All of this before challenging the gym badge, where we evolve Mankey into Primate, and also Growlithe into Arcanine, which would definitely be a huge help with Erica. Now, facing off against Erica definitely wasn't a challenge whatsoever. Again, like just using a single Pokemon, I just used Arcanine to just kind of burn Erica. Like just all of her Pokemon fell very quickly to Arcanine, so there was no real challenge here. I think the only issue being like this paralysis, but that didn't pose too much of a problem to Arcanine. So after the gym badge, we pick up Fly and pick up a Doduo before heading out and moving on to the Pokemon Tower. We pick up a Ghastly. Now again, tempted to use this Ghastly, but I didn't have really a strategy for forming this team, as Arbok sadly goes down to just a random cue ball trainer on Cycling Road here, netting us the first loss in the run. I decided to replace Arbok with Beedrill, just evolving up the Weedle into a Beedrill before continuing on. Now, in the Safari Zone, found an Execute, which I luckily caught. Safari Zone Pokemon being notorious for being hard to catch. So right before the Koga battle, we definitely evolved Wartortle there, also evolved Pidgeotto, and thanks to the Universal Pokemon Randomizer, I evolved my Graveler into a Golem. So all of this kind of just challenging Koga, which I didn't foresee any issues. I don't know why I started with a Pidgeot here. So I just swapped into Blastoise just for that kind of that stat advantage. I know Coughing is very physically defensive versus Surf special attacking. So once he swapped into Muck, I swapped into my Golem here to kind of just go for the magnitudes and just whittle this thing down, knowing that this Muck really can't touch me. And the only issue being the Muck's Minimize, which Golem eventually broke through. So again, swapping into the Blastoise to kind of take on these physical defensive walls here. Up next is his Weezing, which again, Blastoise really did take care of quite easily, netting me the 4th gym badge at this point. No, this is the 5th gym badge. So going into the Silphco, I definitely picked up this Lapras here. Didn't know where I was going to use it, but I decided to have it just in case. So right before Sabrina, this is where the run hit a wall. So I had the Arrogance because Beedrill here takes out Alakazam with just 1 Twin Needle, and also taking up the Mr. Mime with 1 Twin Needle. I was expecting Beedrill to at least survive 1 Psychic, but fates weren't in my favor at this point. So I decided to go into Blastoise with the Bite just for that type advantage, but Blastoise being taken out with just 1 critical hit, was not expecting that. Decided to go into Pidgeot just for the damage here, so I managed to take out the Alakazam, with Venomoth being the last Pokemon, but unfortunately Pidgeot missed the Fly, so that's 3 Pokemon down. So I just decided to go with Golem here, and with 1 Rock Throw, I was able to take out the Venomoth, netting me the 6th gym badge at this point. So in order to replace the Pokemon that I lost, I evolved my Magikarp into a Gyarados, I Diglett into a Dugtrio, and lastly, my Oddish evolved into a Gloom, which I finally evolved into a Vileplume. Now, once we got to Cinnabar Island, I definitely went to the Fossil Reviver person, and definitely, I chose an Ammonite earlier, so definitely wanted to pick that up just in case. So before the gym battle with Blaine here, definitely wanted to start with my Golem, just get that damage on. I know with the type advantages here, with 1 Earthquake, Golem was able to take out the Growlithe. But the Arcanine definitely had Intimidate, which definitely posed a factor, and I was hoping to resist the Fire Blast a little bit better there. But since I didn't, I just decided to swap into Gyarados and just clean up with Surfs. So yeah, Arcanine fell to 1 Surf, which was pretty much expected. The Ponyta followed suit right afterwards, and the Rapidash again fell to just 1 Surf, so Gyarados really is pretty overpowered. So now the last gym fight here, again the same strategy. Gyarados is definitely going to clean up, taking out the Rhyhorn with 1 hit, taking out his 2nd Rhyhorn with 1 hit. Giovanni's Dugtrio goes down with 1 hit, and then the Nidoqueen goes down with 1 Surf, and finally this Nidoking goes down with 1 Surf. So definitely none of the 7th and 8th gym badges using Gyarados entirely, which is not a problem whatsoever. So before the Elite Four is where the problems began, because I swapped out the Pokemon that I was using, and this being the final team going into the Elite Four, definitely pretty untested. And one thing I didn't do was I should have trained them all to the final level cap instead of just Lorelei's level cap. So that was definitely an issue starting off this gauntlet here. So I decided to go try to build up with as many Dragon Dances as possible so I can get the Gyarados sweep early on. So with 2, I just thought I could take out Dudong with 1 hit, but apparently not. So as she goes for the full restore, I go for another Dragon Dance, thinking that, okay, maybe +3 can do something, but again, nothing. So I go for another Earthquake for the kill, just in case she didn't heal up again. I decided to go for another Earthquake, but she protects with Cloyster. Again, not enough attack to take out Cloyster in 1 hit, but 2 does the trick. Against Slowbro, I was not expecting much, but since Gyarados was low health, I decided to sack him anyway, which was probably a mistake. I decided to go into Electro just for that type advantage and go for that Spark, and easily taking out the rest of Slowbro's health. Now with Lapras, decided to go for the Toxic just for the stall here. And just definitely trying to stall this Lapras. I know Lapras is going to be the hardest Pokemon to take out with Lorelei. I know Jinx won't be too much of an issue, so I decided just to get for a clean swap, just to swap with my Fearow, who surprisingly lives in Ice Beam. Super royal. Definitely wasn't expecting that whatsoever, but another Ice Beam does take out Fearow. So I decided to go into Gengar here and just weighing my options. She heals up using Full Restore, getting rid of that Toxic as I go for the Hypnosis and actually get the hit on it. I think it was a misclick. I don't know why I went for a Spike that first time, but I think I was just trying to lower the Surf's accuracy or power points. So now that I'm confused, just seeing if I can't just break through the confusion and just will down this Lapras, which is posing a huge problem for this team, which was pretty expected. Electro goes in, finally takes it out with a Spark, and she sends in her final Pokemon Jinx, which I just go for the Explosion, taking out Lorelei, and finally facing Bruno with only 2 Pokemon left. So I start off with Golem here just to go for the defense curls so I can get that some longevity here. So with enough defense curls, I feel I just go for the Earthquake. I take out the Onix in one shot. Second Onix doesn't take me out with Earthquake, but I was able to take it out with an Earthquake. Now Hitmonchan, I definitely didn't feel like I could survive another hit, so I just went with Canine, which again, weighing the options here, I know Hitmonchan has like a very high special defense stat, so a couple of Fire Blasts definitely was able to take it out. Now again, Machamp has a high special defense stat, so I thought Extreme Speed could do something. But I get the Lucky Burn off. But again, I'm just kind of weighing using Fire Blast this many times. Somehow, luckily, I get all of my Fire Blast hit and sends in his last Pokemon Hitmonlee, which I just kind of go for it and use a bunch of overheats. I know it's lowering my special attack, but at this point, it's all or nothing. So I was luckily able to defeat Bruno with only 2 Pokemon now. Up against Agatha, things took just the worst turn. Now, again, this is pretty much at her level, same level of her Pokemon, but again, kind of leaning on Arcanine here to kind of carry the team. Golbat, I swap into Golem here, just go for the Rock Throw, hoping to take it out one hit, but even with the paralysis, with the confusion and the flinch, I was able to break through both to take out the Golbat as she sends in her Arbok, who surprisingly has Iron Tail. So going for a few Earthquakes, she heals up her Arbok, and she luckily misses an Iron Tail, which allows me to nab the KO with Earthquake. Now since Golem is low health, I decided to swap back into Arcanine to deal with the Haunter. I go for the Bite, which takes out Haunter, but not before he lays a curse on me. And up against her last Gengar here, I knew this was kind of all or nothing. If Arcanine couldn't outspeed, I would definitely lose, and Golem has no chance of outspeeding, ending the run.